sensing this danger. This is the greatest showman! He is floating on air now!
The Multicultural AFL Footy Show with Vanessa Gatica, Harbir Kang, Fouad Andrewas and George Grossios.
Hello and thank you for being with us. I'm Harbir Kang, standing in for Vanessa, who is on holidays for a week. Welcome to the Multicultural AFL Footy Show, and our panelists tonight are George Grossios and our director, Fiv Antonia.
Hi Harbir, how are you?
Hello, good.
Hi Fiv.
Hi.
Good, George.
Second round of the season 2022 produced some tight games, starting with last Thursday night from the Marvel Stadium as the Western Bulldogs fought back to come within 2 goals of the Blues, but eventually went down to Carlton by 12 points. A historic Friday evening which saw ex-Hawk, now Swan, Lance Buddy Franklin kick his 1000th goal, with the SCG exploding into colour and mayhem as thousands invaded the playing arena to congratulate Buddy on his milestone moment. Suffice to say, the Sydney Swans completely eclipsed the Geelong Cats to win by 30 points. Quite a celebration for Sydney Town. Saturday afternoon from the MCG, Collingwood defeated Adelaide by 7 goals, while at Marvel, Brisbane defeated Essendon by 22 points. Hawthorn, playing at the Adelaide Oval, shot to top of the AFL ladder after crushing an injury-depleted Port Adelaide by a massive 64 points. And in a tight one, the Gold Coast at home and Melbourne played out a close game, with the Demons running out victors by 13 points. On Sunday, North Melbourne struggled to stay ahead of the COVID quarantine protocol affected West Coast Eagles, which were forced to make 15 changes to their lineup, North just managing to win by a disappointing 15 points. Richmond at the MCG got back in the winner's circle by dominating the GWS Giants to the tune of 6 goals, and in the last game of the round from Perth, St Kilda came from back in the third quarter in a low-scoring game to defeat Fremantle at home by 10 points. Your thoughts, George, on the weekend's results?
Yes, well, starting with Carlton, who defeated the Western Bulldogs by 12 points. The Blue Baggers, great start to the season. Viv, you'd be happy being a Carlton supporter, of course. And some of their injured players from last year are back with a vengeance. Sam Walsh, a lazy 30-plus disposals, waltzes in and just has an absolute gangbuster of a game. Charlie Curnow, 2 magnificent goals in the last quarter to steady the ship for the fast-finishing Western Bulldogs. A few scares for the Blues in that last quarter, but Patrick Cripps as well. Fantastic performance again. That's 2 best on grounds, Viv.
Well, you can't go past the forward line that's got Charlie Curnow and Big Harry here, and also Cripps and Sam Walsh delivering the ball in such a way that it's pinpoint accuracy. And basically, I mean, if you've got those forwards and 2 more centremen to come in this week, like Jack Martin and Adam Terra, and you've got a really quick side. But they started in scintillating form, and in the last quarter, mainly with the last 8 minutes, Carlton wasted 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the back line, where Fouad was saying, where happened to the slow game? Carlton invented it now, back again, and they're just playing this ball around early enough in the last quarter to eat the timeout, then worry about trying to stop if Western Bulldogs got a goal ahead. We go back to Sydney now.
Yeah.
After Sydney, with Sydney Swans, that was a surprise beating Geelong. The Geelong started quick, but the Swans pegged them back. They picked them back in such a way that the Geelong players couldn't come back into the game. Tom Hawkins, he's a bit slow, and Stewart kept getting caught in the back line as well. Also, the fact the game was all about Buddy Franklin, and that 1000th goal, and the people just stormed out. They could have made squillions if they fined them all $5,000 for getting on the arena while the game was on. What do you think?
They'd be mean and nasty if they did that, Viv. I mean, come on, AFL, show a sense of humour. To their credit, they did. They celebrated that magnificent milestone for Buddy Franklin. Of course, half of those goals, if not 60% of those goals, were kicked at Hawthorn. And we know, of course, he was a 2-time premiership player at the Hawks. So in all of this debate about Buddy Franklin, it's been forgotten that he was a superstar at the Hawks. So good on him for continuing his scintillating form.
But going on to Collingwood, Collingwood and Adelaide, well, there was a bit of a struggle there between the two teams until Collingwood found form and structure, and they completely overrode Adelaide. That's all I can say. Adelaide's in serious trouble. They need Tex back, and they need a few other players like Sloan. I don't think they're going to get Sloan back for quite a while now because he's gone for scans apparently. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're playing their crosstown rivals this week, but that's another story until we do the previews. So what do you think,
terrific
George?
Performance by Jordan De Goey, and Collingwood won the match in the third quarter, kicking 7 goals. It was a little bit of a struggle for the first half. They couldn't quite get their game going. Adelaide were able to play a negating role and actually stifle Collingwood, but the Pies found a way to kick ahead in the third quarter. They 7 goals, blew the game wide apart, and the game almost threatened to be postponed because of not a bomb scare, but a fire alarm.
The
so
fire
we've gone
alarm, that
from
was funny, wasn't it?
we've gone from fan invasions in Sydney the night before to fire alarms.
And the fans went out the other door.
That's right.
At the MCG. Somebody in the members left some burner open, food burner, and set off an alarm. So.
Yeah, but thankfully it was a false alarm.
It was a false alarm. You have to
off,
clear it. OH&S says you have to clear it. And you don't want to sit there in your seat while the stadium's burning.
False alarm, but a false dawn also for Adelaide. So they have a lot of work, as you say, Viv, and they take on their crosstown rivals next week. But Gold Coast lost in a tight one to Melbourne by 13 points. They really served it up to Melbourne. Melbourne certainly haven't been taking it easy. They're not suffering from any premiership hangovers. Gold Coast were terrific, played really well for the 4 quarters, but Melbourne just too steady and too experienced and got the job done. Petracca at his best again, 41 disposals, another BOG.
Well, Melbourne's a bit slow at the moment. They haven't found their form yet, but they will find their form soon. And they've got to start thinking about their salary cap now because they can't keep their stars, forever.
Well, the Sharks are circling for Luke Jackson, Viv.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous proposition. Max
right.
gone and Luke Jackson in one team. That's any team can dream of. That if they are in their teams, the way Luke Jackson is playing, I don't think it would be much harder for them to put him on the market.
How many years has Fritsch signed for? And of course, on Sunday, Fremantle and St Kilda, they played out a 10-point game. Fremantle threw it away. And St Kilda took the advantage in the third quarter with King taking 3 big marks and 3 big goals and cemented the results of the last quarter. Of course, there were other winners for the weekend: Hawthorn, Richmond, North Melbourne, and the Gold Coast.
And the Hawks are on top of the ladder, so well done to Sam Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a great start. And we'll be back with more, including this week's previews, after this break.